It's not about perfection. It's about participation.
Yeah.
So if you miss a couple days, jump back in.
Yeah.
Like when your resolution is around discipline, is around strategy, then, and as opposed to being around perfection, you can jump back in if you miss a day or two.
Welcome to the Hope in Real Life podcast with Jason Gore. Our team is passionate and committed to bringing you more hope in the everyday, real areas of your life. If this conversation and content is valuable for you, please do us a favor. Like, subscribe, and even share. You never know how valuable it could be to share a little bit of hope with someone else. Let's get the conversation started.
Hope in Real Life family, happy 2025.
What's up?
Happy New Year to you. Who knows? I think we're going to roll this probably right after the New Year.
Yeah, right around there.
If it's almost, party safely, all right? And let's ease into the new year in a healthy way. Yep. Hey, here we are. We are talking, this week I'm here with my good buddy, Bradford Mitchell, and we're talking about New Year's resolutions. Some people love them, some people hate them. But hey, it's a new year, so we thought let's spend a little bit of time talking about them. Certainly they can bring us some hope. I'd say, you know, one thing I will say this about New Year's resolutions, like the truth is you do have a little bit of hope, even if it's day one and you haven't broken your resolution yet. You still have hope that maybe you're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
So Brad, what are your thoughts? New Year's resolutions, pro, con, for them, against them? What do you think?
I've never been one who's been good at setting goals and being self-motivated.
Everybody just turned it off right now.
Yeah, right.
Click.
Well, I mean, so I think, because you and I were talking beforehand, I think this is
You've been self-motivated. You're self-motivated. What do you mean?
I don't feel like I am. That's the thing.
You go to the gym just about every day. You take care of your family.
I guess.
You work hard.
I do. I do
Haley,
those
does
things.
he work hard? Yeah.
I do those
she said
things.
yeah, mostly.
But I don't know. The idea of like this kind of thing has just never been like something I've done. And so like, I think some people, you see, all these people turn it off. Like, well, if you're somebody who doesn't like New Year's resolutions, this may actually be the podcast for you. Because like, I'm like, why? Like we should always be working on ourselves, right? We should always want to be making ourselves better. But I don't know. It's not my thing.
Well,
I think they're great for others.
Okay. Well, I'll answer the question. I mean, why? No offense to anyone on this. I mean, let's start at the top. We are maybe as unhealthy, if we're just talking America, physically, as we've ever been. Obesity rates are way off the charts. Child obesity, super high. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, practically speaking.
That's why.
I think mentally.
Have you seen WALL-E?
No.
The Disney movie?
I have not.
The whole thing right there is like these people, they keep wanting to like feed themselves and engorge, and they get lazy, and technology pushes them to a point where they don't have to do anything on their own. And so all this trash builds up on planet Earth. So
is this WALL-E or CNN?
WALL-E.
Which one? Okay, all right. It sounds like the real world right now.
But there's so much trash on the earth, they got to get on these massive cruisers.
Hollywood's really getting one over on us right now. Let's make a movie about what's happening right now.
But we make it seem like it's not. Yeah. Well, it's a Pixar thing, and they live on this spaceship for like hundreds of years while these robots clean the trash up off the earth, and all the humans get so lazy they have like no bones in their feet anymore. They can't walk. They get and so they're too big, and they get hauled around on these conveyor belts and whatnot.
So you watch this movie and you still have no conviction that resolutions are important?
It feels different.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Your perspective is valid.
Thank you.
And I respect it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. See,
Anyways,
healthy conflict.
That was what it made me think of. I'm sorry. Keep going. You talked about obesity. Go.
No, I don't want to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that. I'm just saying mental health, emotional health.
Yeah.
We're doubting. Leadership isn't trusted. Institutions that we've had in place for a long, long time that has really brought strength to society are being doubted. Police, government, church. I don't know. I mean, I think some of us somewhere need to do a little better. And so here's why I like resolutions. Because clearly I'm actually with you in that I'm not the biggest New Year's resolution fan, because I do believe if it's worth doing,
you
should probably already be doing it.
Yeah. That's where I was getting at.
Yeah,
it wasn't like getting better. I wasn't saying getting better is a bad idea.
Even Lent's like, oh, I'm going to give up X, Y, or Z for Lent. It's like
Lent is like the 40-day period leading up to around Passover, leading up to Easter.
There you go.
Traditionally in the Catholic Church, you give something up for 40 days.
That's right. And it's kind of like, now it's a little different because you're giving that up as a sign of your faith.
Yeah.
But it's still like, if it's worth giving up, it's worth giving up.
Yeah.
And I don't give up everything in my life that I should give up, but I at least got to know that I probably should. And so for me, the reason why I like New Year's for resolutions is because most people, in my opinion, struggle with any goal that they have in life because they just don't start.
Okay.
And so
that resonates with me.
It's always easy to say, I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes.
Or I'm going to start
next year.
On the new year. Yeah.
And so it's like the perfect time. It's a new week. It's a new day. It's a new year. Hey, we can do this. Now, the hard part is we don't really stick with them. And this is why I don't necessarily like New Year's resolutions, because most people go with goals. My New Year's resolution is to lose 20 pounds. It's to lose 10 pounds.
Okay. I'm with you.
Atomic Habits. Great book. Have you read this book?
No, I have not.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
We've probably talked about it before on the show. But what the author talks about, and now, Haley, do you remember the author's name? Okay, we don't remember, but we'll put it in the show notes.
I mean, that's a pretty cool name, Atomic Habits.
Yeah, so the whole premise of the book is your goals are great, but at the end of the day, a lot of people have goals. What's the differentiator between people that accomplish their goals and people that don't? And really, it's the small decisions in between that you make. It's the strategy. So the author uses the example, James Clear. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Clear. He makes this argument, paints this picture of at the start of a 100-meter race, everybody has one goal. What's the goal?
Get to the end? Take the first step to start?
What's the goal if you're running a 100-meter race?
To win.
There we go.
Okay,
to win.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
Everybody's got the same goal, though. If you don't have the same goal, if you don't have that goal, you're probably in the wrong race, right?
Sure, yeah.
But everybody doesn't win. Everybody doesn't accomplish the goal. And so what it comes down to is, I mean, obviously, who's got a little bit more gifting than some other folks, but it's so much more than that at that level. Everybody's gifted. If you're really talking high-level sprinting, it's who trained the right way, who took care of their body the right way, who's ice bathing up, who's taking the right supplements, who's dieting the right way, who's getting the right nutrition, who's getting the right amount of sleep, who has somehow managed to go through a 8-week to 12-week training cycle without a family crisis, so they can stay mentally engaged in the training. Yeah. And so much of it has to do with the steps that you make. And so what I would say, if you're setting a resolution, make a commitment to a strategy. Don't make a New Year's resolution necessarily for a goal. Have the goal, but then do the extra work of what is the plan that's going to be required to get me to the goal, and then stick to that come hell or high water.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, and that actually resonates with me because right now I feel like I've taken on a lot of extra stuff, and I have a reason for it. I feel God's ordained these steps for me to do these things in this way, provide for my family, make stuff happen. But it'd be real easy for me to look at and be like, this has to get done.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, I got a list of like 8 things that need to get done. And this isn't even talking about goals. This is just like, this has to happen.
Right.
And it's like, I've had to tell myself and had to train myself and had to get myself in the mindset of, you don't have to do it all in one fell swoop. Because if I try to sit down, so for example, like I make digital products for guitarists.
It is warm in here.
It is a little warm.
I'm going to take off
I took my jacket
shirt
off being between shoots.
Okay. We'll make
but
sure the camera's focused
I make
on
product
you for
now.
Stop it. Go ahead. Keep going. You're busy. You're doing a lot of stuff.
If I make a product for a digital product for guitarists, it's real easy for me to think that like I have to devote 8 hours to get that done. And that's can be hard to find 8 uninterrupted hours.
Yep.
And so I have to tell myself, okay, first off, you don't even need a plan if you're just fine with go spend 30 minutes on it. Like 30 uninterrupted minutes is better than 0 minutes. Yep. And so this is a similar thing that I've actually been trying to remind myself, like, Bradford, if you sit here and wait for the perfect day to get it all done in one fell swoop, you're going to fail. Like, it's going to be hard. You're going to be worn out. I'm not going to give it my best either. I've been working on some products that I've been working on for 3 weeks, and I actually really feel good about them because I've been taking one small step at a time. So it's actually in line with what you were just saying too. It's like, if you just have this goal to do X, Y, Z, but you don't put strategy into it, you don't put the small steps into it, like, that's going to be hard to figure out, because losing weight, like, if that's probably the biggest, I'm pretty certain that's got to be the biggest goal anybody has. I want to lose 20 pounds, but if I just say that and put it out into the ether, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
So you had to, like, concrete steps.
Yeah. So you've said this 3 times now, and this has been one of life's greatest mysteries to me, and I want to see if you can bring some clarity to it. This has nothing to do with a New Year's resolution. One fail swoop, what's that middle word?
That's one fell swoop.
Spell it.
F-E-L-L? I don't know.
One fell?
I grew up in the South. That seemed like a Southern colloquialism.
Is that what it is? One fell? I don't know. The research
Haley,
team is
our
currently
producer is looking at
working
it.
on it at the moment. We'll come. One F-E-L-L.
F-E-L-L.
One fell swoop. Okay. So if nothing else, you've learned how to pronounce the appropriate idiom, one fell swoop.
But I have a little bit of a Southern twang, so if you say fell just right, it can sound like you're saying fail, or
Right.
vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes when I don't know exactly the right thing, I'll just say it real fast and slur it on purpose.
yes, I've done that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen, let's talk about, I wanted to add a little bit to this on resolutions, because at the end of the day, I think it is important to grow. I think it's important for us to better ourselves. I think if we're not moving forwards, we're moving backwards. And in life, you want to talk about having hope. Sometimes, the majority of the time, we can't control hardly anything that's going on around us in our lives. And sometimes we have goals that aren't completely up to us. But man, if we can set small goals in place and make progress in the things that we actually can control, it can keep us encouraged along the way. It can lead to more hope.
Yeah.
And so if there's somebody out there that's thinking, what are the steps I need to take? Because what do they say? Like 80% of statistics are made up on the spot. I think 80% of New Year's resolutions have been failed to be continued by like January 10th, which I'm actually grateful for, because when I go to the gym, on January 1st, I'm like, oh, why did I do this?
Mercy, the number of people.
But then in about 3 weeks, it's kind of thin back out a little bit. But here's
one fell swoop, they'll all leave.
Fell swoop, they're all gone. We're going to retitle this episode. I would say, if you're going to set a resolution in place, I want to encourage you, find your why. Like, what's the why? Like, so let's just go with losing 20 pounds. What's your why behind losing 20 pounds? And it could be, hey, I want my wife to think that I look better with my clothes on. I don't know. Well, I don't know what it is. Don't laugh. I was going a different direction. That's important.
Yeah,
that is important. That is important.
That you look good
Wives
with
across
clothes
America
on.
are like, thank you for encouraging.
Yes.
But you got to remember your why. For me, I've got 3 kids. I've got a daughter. I want to do everything I can do within my power to be able to walk her down the aisle one day, should she choose to get married. Like, that's important. Yeah. That's a bigger why for me in working out than just being able to lift heavier circles than I could lift last month. Mm-hmm. And so, like, what's your why? And you got to remember that, because there's going to be days that you don't want to do it. Secondly, I would say count the cost early. Like, know what it's going to cost you, because something's going to happen. If you say, I'm going to walk, I'm going to, above everything else, on top of everything else, I'm going to get 45 minutes of walking in every day.
Okay.
There's going to be days that it rains. And so if you don't count the cost, which means every now and then I'm going to have to go for a rain, I'm going to have to go for a walk after my kids go to bed, because it's the first down moment that I've had and it's raining. Count the cost ahead of time. Know it's going to cost you. And then when you get there, you're not surprised. And you've already made the decision, when it rains and when it's late and when I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it. So remember the why, count the cost. And then if there's some way to hold some type of visual in front of you, then I think that's an added benefit.
Like a thermometer you color in. for a fundraiser?
I mean, that could be good. I mean, what, the 75 hard, they have, you take a picture of yourself every single day.
Okay, that too.
If you're doing that, that was one of the things we didn't talk about in the last episode. That is a part of it.
Forgot about that.
But, for me, it's actually as simple as a picture of my family. Like, I want to be the best version of myself that I can be for my family. Yeah. And so that helps me stay motivated even when I don't want to do it, or even when I have other stuff. It's like, well, I got work that's backed up, but you know what? Like, work's going to come and work's going to go and the sun's going to rise and the sun's going to set and the work's still going to be there. I want to make sure that when the sun rises and the sun sets and the sun rises again, that I'm still here for my family. And that's a bigger why. Yeah. And so if you can remember the why, if you can count the cost, and if you can have some kind of visual along the way, that might help you. For a guy like you, it might just be a picture of the Rock that you look at every day, since I know you're
that would do it. If I looked at the Rock every time I walked into the gym, I have a man crush.
No, don't. It's not the gym. You got to put it next to the Doritos, and I'm not saying
I need to put it in the tub of cookie dough that's in my fridge right now.
There you go.
Because that's my problem.
See that, you're like, I don't think the Rock would eat cookie dough.
No,
right now.
he would. He has like a live-in chef who makes him like dope.
That's the
French
fourth.
toast.
If you have a goal, that's my fourth one, is buy a live-in chef.
All my problems would be solved if somebody made my meals for me.
Hope in Real Life family, we just want to take a moment and let you know about a resource that is available to you. I know a lot of our listeners aren't necessarily active in a church, might not even be a Christian. We are still thankful that you're spending time with us. However, we do get asked regularly, how can we find out more about your church or even just about this Jesus guy? And so if that is you, I want you to know you can tune in to gethope.tv. We have live services on Saturday, 4:15 p.m. and 6 p.m., or on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. or 11:15 a.m. Those are Eastern Standard Times. If you can't tune in during those times, we will drop our YouTube link as well as our podcast link down in the show notes. We would love to have you join in with us. Let's keep sharing some hope.
You said the why and the cost, and that made me think of something, because I know there are probably people thinking too. They're like, yeah, but I don't have time. And like you make time for and spend money on the things that are most important to you. Yeah. If you want to like know what's most important to you, just look at your bank statement and look at what you spend the most money on.
Yeah, your bank statement, your calendar.
Yeah, look at your calendar. We all have the same amount of time in a day. You just have to make time for it, and what you tend to shift around and to give up on and to make time for is what will be important to you. And I know for me, I had to, like at one point, I had to just sit down with my wife and I just had to tell her, I was like, I want to make this gym thing, like I want to be in there way more often. Like I feel like I either need to quit or I need to commit. Because I was like doing 2, maybe 3 days a week, and I wasn't seeing like progress, and like I think I would get stronger, and I would like not be able to get past that, or I'd just be too tired to go, and I was just like in the gym. I was like, I'm wasting time if I'm not going to commit to it, because if I'm not trying to get better and I'm not making time for it, then it's like, why am I doing this? I might as well not. And all that alone, my wife, she knows. I mean, we've been married, we just hit 10 years. She knows that like. Now, first off, if I'm cranky, what's that?
Babies.
Babies? Yes. Well,
no, I'm just saying, well, you have babies.
I have babies.
I was just saying 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. 2 babies.
That's a decade.
It's a decade. Yeah. Actually, my little girl is 10 weeks old at this point now. That's wild. My son's 4.5. But she knows that, like, if I'm getting cranky, she's like, you need to go to the gym. Yeah. But on top of that, she also knows that it's important, and like she partners with me in that. And like she knows that that's kind of a non-negotiable for me. Yeah. And I'm willing to drop it if it means that like it's just not possible. Like my family comes first, and like the gym, like me being in there all the time, same idea as you, Jason. It's like my why is like to be healthy for my family. And so like, I'm not just dropping it because I'm too tired, but it's like, if it's going to come in the way of, and this actually doesn't happen all that often, but if it's going to come in the way of me being there for my family, like that's when I drop it. It's like, this is now becoming a different thing at that point. Yeah. But like, sometimes that means I wake up at 4:30 a.m. to go to the gym, to be able to come back and help my wife get our 2 kids ready to get out the door before she has to go to work. Sometimes what that looks like. And it's like, you want to say you don't have time for it. It's like, do you not have time, or like the sleep is more like what you want, which is fine. Just be real with yourself though.
Yeah. So let's talk about, some tools that can help folks that are looking to do resolutions. So like say you have one in your physical life, you have a resolution. You know, I know like MyFitnessPal is a great app for tracking calories. It can watch your macros for you. It'll track your weight. I mean, you've got to put it in, but it'll show you, you know, and how you're progressing or regressing towards your goal, towards it, away from it. So that's a great app. We've mentioned 75 Hard before on the show. Hope in Real Life, we're putting something inside of our app right now as it relates to physical. And I'll talk about some spiritual ones in a moment, but talk about what we got going on inside the app.
Coming up right around the time this is released, we're doing a 30-day challenge. It's we're going to come up with a better name for it, but if you stick close to social media and in the app, you'll see more about it.
But is it going to last 30 days?
Yes, it'll be
30 days. And it's a
days.
challenge?
It is.
It sounds like a really good name to me.
Okay. I mean, we could leave it like that.
It's pretty, I mean,
yeah, it's just, you know, 75
call it
Hard
that
sounds so cool.
That sounds better than One Fell Swoop.
Okay.
It does.
That's I'll give you that. But the goal here is like, because we talked about 75 Hard, it is called that because it is 75 days of some pretty hard commitments.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you've never done any of that kind of stuff. So our 30-day challenge is exercise 30 days or 30 minutes a day, read the Bible and read like 10 pages of a nonfiction book, something that like could educate you, you know, and then like give something up that just kind of like helps remind you of what you're doing. If you're like a chocolate chip cookie at night, I mentioned the cookie dough. I like keep it in the fridge and I make like 2 fresh cookies and like every night. And
you're not helping people.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. My point here is like, I'm going to give that up for 30 days. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that would be the kind of thing I would give up.
Okay.
Because it's like, I like need a sweet. And it's like, honestly, if I ate a strawberry, I'd probably be satiated because it's just that sweet nature. Yeah. But that's what it is. It's like just 30 days. And it's like, if you need somewhere to start, this is not easy, but this ain't going to kill you either. Like commit for 30 days to do this. And so we'll have more info if you want to do that. That's just a great thing. We're going to have you can communicate, have some community in our app and chat with other people who are doing it.
Yeah. Just
keep up with people, which is kind of the whole point of the app too, is community. So we'll have more info on that. So that's like a real practical way because like we're giving it to you.
Right on. And then you've got like, say you want to grow spiritually. YouVersion has a Bible app that has different reading plans in it.
Yeah.
Has different devotions. You can go in and you can commit, hey, for the next 60 days, I'm going to develop a new habit of engaging with this content every single day. And by the way, I think those are better resolutions, again, than just goal-oriented.
Yeah.
It's a discipline orientation, a strategy orientation, as opposed to a goal orientation. And so, hey, I'm going to commit to 60 days of following along. You can pick one of those devotionals. I know our Hope in Real Life app has different tracks in it and things like that, as different Bible reading plans. So the Hope in Real Life app is another.
Yeah, we're doing the Bible in a year right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems real daunting, but you have 365 days to get through it.
Yep.
It takes like 20 minutes a day. It's not a huge commitment. That can be part of what you read during the 30-day plan too, so you can knock out both at one time.
Another one that I've really enjoyed, and say you just want to grow in any area, like if you want to grow as a leader, if you want to grow in the area of wealth management, if you want to grow in the area of what does success look like, there's an app out there called Headway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a few Ivy League guys got together and put together this app. And it basically, they've compiled an audio Cliff's Notes version of just about every book out there imaginable. And then they've built different growth tracks inside of their app. And so it will build for you depending on the category that you want to see growth. Maybe you just want to grow in your knowledge and awareness of how to be more physically healthy or more mentally healthy or emotionally healthy, how to be a better spouse. You can click these growth tracks and it will populate for you, hey, here's your 15 days of reading. And each book is broken down into basically a 15-minute Cliff Notes version audio file that you can get the summation of the book. And the way I use it is if I go through one, I'm like, man, that was so good. I need to download the entire audio book, or I need to buy the book on Amazon or something and then go through the whole thing. But that is a great resource for somebody that has a resolution to grow in their knowledge and awareness, or if they want to grow to become more equipped so they can actually put a different plan in place to handle their finances or in whatever way that they want to grow. So just some resources for you as you're listening to this. And
those are great.
Maybe you're listening to this and it's, January 5th and you haven't started with a resolution yet, that's okay.
It's fine.
Aaron Nelson, a friend of ours around here, he says regularly, and he's usually talking about as it relates to reading your Bible, but this applies to just about everything. It's not about perfection, right? It's just about, what is he? Thank you.
Yes.
I knew it was, I wasn't going to say another P word, and I was like, no. It is another P word.
Alliteration.
It's not about perfection. It's about participation.
Yeah.
So if you miss a couple days, jump back in.
Yeah.
Like when your resolution is around discipline, is around strategy, then, and as opposed to being around perfection, you can jump back in if you miss a day or two.
Yeah. And in terms of starting, the first best day to start was yesterday, but the next best day is today.
There you go.
We're just throwing out more isms.
Look at all these idioms that we have. I think that's a good one to end on. So here's what we said
right here
with resolutions. Know your why, right? We said that. Count the cost.
Let's deliver this in one fell swoop, so we can.
There we go. Count the cost out of the gate. If you can build a visual, if you can have a visual, then that's going to be motivating. Accountability. You missed having somebody else that's in it with you, and then remember, it's not always about perfection, but it's about ongoing participation. Mm-hmm. If we can do anything for you, if we can help, we're going to list all of the apps, all the resources, all the tools that we mentioned in the show notes. Listen, we are grateful for you to spend some time with us and give us an opportunity to bring you a bit more hope in the everyday moments of your life. Bradford, as always, thank you so much for bringing all of your isms in many fell swoops. Great to have you here.
Likewise, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Hey, like, subscribe, comment. If there's anything that we can do for you, please reach out, drop us a message. We will definitely follow up with you. And if there's anybody that you think would benefit from this content, please do them a favor and do us a favor and share it with them and help us get the word out.
Please.
Love you guys. We will see you on the next episode of Hope in Real Life.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Hope in Real Life podcast. If this content was valuable for you, don't forget, like, subscribe, share. You never know how important it could be to bring a little hope into someone else's life. There's even a place here for you to comment. We would love to hear from you and hear your feedback. Until next time, let's keep sharing hope.